What are some of the most secret documents that are known to exist?
Thousands of documents from WWII were classified and can only be published after 2045.
The letter of last resort in the UK. One of the first things the Prime Minister does on taking office is write a letter of last resort, to be placed in each of the UK's nuclear submarines. That gives instructions to the captain in the event that the government entirely ceases to exist. When a Prime Minister leaves office, their letters are destroyed without ever being opened. I wonder what they did for the Prime Minister whose term was shorter than a submarine rotation.
Scotland Yard's investigation into Jack the Ripper is still sealed to the public.
Secret and top secret documents, depending on the country in question, dealing with key governmental deliberations can be withheld from the public for 25 to 30 years. In the UK, I believe that the King's, Queen's personal archives are held back for 100 years. The BBC Radio 4 used to do a fun series called UK Confidential, which involved installments when new secret documents were released. It was really great. They would interview folks who were still around and part of the action from the time in question, and would use voice actors to read the key documents. They had someone do a Dead-on Thatcher, among others. It is cool to hear the deliberations from the time of the events. It is the real inside story. Some of the events are heavy, but some are light and funny. Here is the link. It is worth a listen. I wish every public broadcaster around the world would do something like this. https://www.bbc.co.uk/PROGRAMMES/BOXJ3RW. Wish Radio 4 would do some more of these.
Reminded me of the documentary Three Identical Strangers. 3 adopted triplets were separated and placed in different families as part of a study on nature versus nurture. The families and triples didn't know about this. Their files are in a vault at Yale University and cannot be accessed until 2060. Their lives were orchestrated, yet they cannot access their own files. The film mentioned how their attempts were shut down by powers higher up. It's truly mind-boggling. Makes you wonder how people are able to do this kind of stuff. Turns out, this adoption agency separated more multiples for studies.
Some of my favorites are personal notes that people leave for one another at key jobs. It's a known fact that every former president of the United States has left a note in the desk for his successor. Some of those would be very interesting to read. Also, it's not uncommon for bands, athletes or artists to leave notes for each other before or after performances at large venues. It would be cool to see some of those, especially because there has to be some unexpected cross-overs.
The Epstein visitor logs.
Whatever secrets Scientology keeps.
The college playoff process.